Today on Fagan Fleet Services Preventative Maintenance Tips, I'm going to give you the breakdown of how an automatic slack adjuster works and how to tell when they're failed and how to definitively tell when they're failed, because you know exactly how it works. So, number one, grease. It's your friend. Preventative maintenance prevents failures like this. Actually, this was a truck that I do preventative maintenance on, so I can honestly say the failure had nothing to do with that. I think if you saw an earlier video of mine, this threaded end here by that holds the adjuster in had walked out, so it was able to unline the teeth so that it couldn't adjust forward. And I call that a manufacturer defect because I pointed out on the new one that I was replacing, which is still Halodex, same exact offset 5.5 inch slack adjuster, but they've upgraded it to actually putting a stake down through the threads there because they know this is a known issue of why these were failing. So they've studied it and said, all right, these are failing because of this. So anyway, the breakdown of how to check. If you get called or you have an issue with a brake that's out of adjustment, you've got a problem. All trucks built this millennium or whatever, after 2000 at least, are built with automatic slack adjusters. So, and anybody that knows how easily this can be overlooked would have changed over any truck they're still running that came with non-automatic slack adjusters, because they're very easy to change. This goes on the tube, boom, you have an automatic slack adjuster. Anyway, how it works, this would be on your S-cam tube side with your S-cam in it. And as you actuate the brake, you do this. Well, this part here, this mechanism is locked into here, which is locked to your brake chamber, the top bolt or stud, and it's locked to there. This one's bent. I bent it out of the way because I was replacing it anyways when I replaced this. So what that does is, how does this know when too much is too much and it needs to move forward? Well, it just really is always kind of inching forward, as you'll see. But what that does is this is anchored, so when this moves, this doesn't move. So that tells this how much this is moving. And allowable tolerances on a, maximum 2 inches on a long stroke brake can. But if you've got any more than an inch of applied stroke, you've got some issues going on. If everything working right is going to probably be running around 7/8 of an inch to an inch as of a good solid S-cam setup for an S-cam type brake. So anyway, so you'll see here what this is these are teeth here, hard steel teeth. That sound that you hear, I don't think it's coming from there, actually. It's not, because that would break these teeth because they're very locked in. So if you ever have a spot where it moves back freely when you're adjusting this and you don't get that resistance and that hardcore sound, that you could have broke possibly these teeth that hook this to this, because that also holds that, because that's not moving. So that holds that steady. So if you have, and then a spot where it goes, whoop, well, it could be 1, 2, 3 teeth. So that's why you're only going to have it in that one spot. And like, oh, that's okay, it goes around the rest. Well, no, anytime it gets to that spot, it no longer can move the mechanism. Now, it could be those teeth, or it could be these teeth. Now, if you look closely at these teeth, on this part here, these teeth lock into these teeth, and that ratcheting you hear when you have to back it off that half turn is it ratcheting off of here, because you can actually see the divot in the middle. So if you've ratcheted that enough or something happened that busted one of those teeth, that's going to be your dead spot. So this screw that's hooked to this screw runs to, come on baby, you gotta get it out pretty straight because it's machined. This screw, that's pretty thick, right? Because you're talking brakes, you don't want that backing off, and a lot of force goes into a brake application and an emergency brake application. So anyway, and if you look in here, you have a grease zerk. I'm not sure if I'm showing you that right. And then there's another rifled hole here that connects to a hole in there. So what they want, this is sealed, it has a gasket, all this is sealed, so you want to grease this to fill this entire cavity, because if it's full of grease, it's not full of water and other crap. So that's gonna make it last a long time, because just keeping it full of grease has a little O-ring seal there for the grease too. It goes against that. So what it's gonna do when you grease it properly, preventative maintenance, it's gonna fill this entire area with grease down into all the mechanisms, and then it's gonna purge out that little rifling hole there, out to a hole here, that it will purge grease out, and that's when you know that the thing's full of grease. This is a breakdown of how an automatic slack adjuster works. I hope this helps. Give me a like and follow, is what I'm supposed to say, I guess, on social media videos. Kind of a new thing for me, so. Anyway, thanks for watching.